Oh, my clock's a little slow then.
Good morning, Singapore.
Oh, all right.
Let's get this band going.
I read the news today, a two-bit expose of the same old story that I heard yesterday. Yeah, it goes the headlines, man. They all just go to plan. They're framed and fixed and rigged, and you know they're all just spam. So buckle down, plug right in, cause it's way under your skin. Just got by on the things they spout, and you should give me that good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit.
You know we ain't gonna make it. Singers.
That's right, yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to 216 The Net and the Ground with Giles and
Chokes you
Jones.
right up.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
With Giles and Jones. I'm Giles. He's Jones.
Hey.
Hey, and we talk everything from peanut butter to politics, but no politics.
That's right.
It's Friday. I hope everyone had an awesome week and ready for the weekend. And if you only work 5 days, enjoy the 2 off. If you work like us, it's just another beautiful day in the neighborhood, right?
Keep it going. And of course, 216 The Net, The Grounds, brought to you through the finance support of our good friends over at Cannabis CBD Shop. Check them out at 815-385-7399 or www.cannabiscbd.com.
Yeah.
Right?
A lot of W's there, but
There was.
Cannabis CBD Shop.
Yeah.
.com.
.com.
Yeah. Check us
great
out.
stuff. And listen, and I bring this up because the world, that there's a health issue in the world lately, and your health. We know that the particular health issue really goes after people whose body is out of balance and are unhealthy. So do what you have to do and give them a call or stop by right across from the library in McHenry.
Or Restore if you've never been to a library.
If you're on the other side of the world, give them a call and they'll chat with you and educate you the whole good works so that you can have your body in balance, so that it keeps you away from a lot of the nasty.
Getting your body in balance, which is they call it homeostasis, and homeostasis is where your body's actually firing on all cylinders and talking to itself properly. So come on in. We're all about education over there at the store. Kind of figuring out everyone's a little bit different, even though we're all the same, kind of look the same to a certain extent. Everyone's a little different on what we need and how we need to get there. So stop in or give us a call.
And of course, The Ground's the most unique show here on 216 The Net. It's the only show that you, the listener, can join. So there is a great link out there, streamyard.com/something. Go to our YouTube page, go to our Facebook page, go to Uncle Pete in the Morning Facebook page and grab that link and go ahead and put it in your URL. Come in and be part of this grand conversation today. Coincidence or convenience, Scott? Coincidence or convenience is the topic for the day. And here's what I'm talking about. Many of you don't know. It was kind of hush-hush, but it wasn't hush-hush. It hit quick, and then it's kind of gone to the wayside, and finding information and things on it very interesting. The President of the United States, we're big fans of, and thank you for listening, Mr. President. Come on anytime.
Thanks, Joe. Come on in. Come on in.
Is pushing for what would be called a Build Back Better campaign, an infrastructure campaign.
Right.
No doubt in the world that highways, bridges, waterways, things like that, right?
Just all the internal things that people take for granted every day. Yeah,
they're dilapidated, they're old. We haven't done a good job with upkeep, things like that.
Right.
That's fair to say.
Absolutely. And our maintenance and our upkeep has been less than great.
Yeah. So right before we went on air last week, so last Friday, the President of the United States was, hey, look at there, Mary. Good morning. Look at this. There she is. Good morning. Is the last week before we went on air, the President of the United States was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he was going to be speaking about
An infrastructure
the
bill.
infrastructure bill.
Right.
Interestingly enough, he's in Pittsburgh. You know what Pittsburgh is famous for?
Well, steel.
No, they're the city with the most bridges in the world.
So steel.
In the world.
Are they really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
One. I didn't know they had the
that
most
either.
bridges in the world. I thought I always thought of Pittsburgh as like the
steel
blue collar steel city.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Heinz 57 is from Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. Well, I like that too.
Right. But yeah, so it's the city with the most bridges in the world, right? And interestingly enough, just hours before the president's there to talk about a bridge collapses over a ravine in a park. And I mean, and there were no casualties, or there were no fatalities. There were
but we did
casualties.
Have some there were
4, 6, 8 people were hurt. There was a city bus on it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Thank God there was nobody killed.
Right.
But it was definitely interesting.
So the question is that coincidence now, or is it convenience? Because this bridge was not one of the bridges touted
as
on the Build Back plan. This was a quote unquote strong bridge. It had just been looked at. It had just been looked at in September, and there were no reports saying anything was wrong structurally or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, yeah, they have about 3,000 bridges. Gary's brilliant, man.
Yeah.
So is it convenience or is it coincidence?
So let me ask you what you mean by that. Why would that be convenient?
Oh,
because like I tell you, I'm kind of like one of those birds. I keep my head in the sand about a lot of things other than my life and what I can really actually change or do in the world. So I don't pay a lot of attention to the news or the media because a lot of it is. I'm
not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm not trying to spread misinformation. This is simply an observation that
it brought a question to your head.
A strong bridge happens to collapse. Well, right before rush hour, maybe. They say it's a very well traveled bridge, and it falls down when the president's there to talk about bridges.
Getting money, getting money or giving money to do something like that, right? So coincidence or convenience? Yeah, it could be both.
What do you mean?
I was going to say, you could probably argue that for either side of the fence, saying that it supports his bill or it's against it, or, depending on which way you want to take that karmic inspiration to go and say, okay, this supports his claim that, there isn't anything that has been supporting any of the infrastructure in our areas. And you can also go that it's someone trying to make him look bad and this, that, and the other. You can spin it in any direction that you want, depending on how you put that, how you put the grammar in your headline, as it were.
And that's I think that's the whole reason this show today is about that, because conspiracy theorists obviously are going to go right down that road of he did it to to push his bill quicker and to spend more money, which we all know that our infrastructures out here suck.
Yeah,
they've been
dilapidated.
Right. They have been not well taken care of over the years, and money has been grossly misspent on things that probably shouldn't have been spent on. And so you can argue it any way, Mary, and that's kind of the things that we talked about this week is, what do you think and why? Because I know what I think with the amount of information I was able to pull this week, which is actually very minimal as far as what I found, but then it definitely sparks a lot of things in your head. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any way, shape, or means. But I start going, oh, okay.
Yeah, but you're the guy who'll say, "Hey, look at the towers. There were poofs of smoke."
Yeah, right. Yeah, that whole the 9/11
right?
Convenience.
Maybe not a conspiracy theorist, but questions, right?
It definitely puts a question in my head.
Tim Santos, good morning, brother.
Tim. Good morning, Shayna.
Shayna says, "Morning. If you start asking which part of the political landscape is theater, you'll find an incessant loop." Absolutely.
It's Brandon's fault. Thanks, Gary. Yeah, we got Singapore checking in already this morning, which is great.
See you, Mary. So the funny thing, right? I don't know if it's funny. I'm just saying, when was the last time a bridge fell down? Besides London. right? I mean, was it?
London.
It was 4 or 5 years ago, I think, in Minneapolis that the bridge, the 235 bridge over the over the Mississippi, that collapsed. That was a scary thing. But there was no president or anything there. But I can't remember the last time in the news that I heard of a bridge collapsing outside of Hazard County, where the Duke boys had to jump over.
Duke boys had to blow it up. Yeah. Well, so I mean, my question really would be, and I've been thinking about this one, is okay, coincidence or convenience? Convenience. How would this help push his bill forward? By if that happened, that this bridge going down.
Well,
is it going to make people think more that, oh yeah, we need to spend more money?
Well, yes. If I'm
give him what he wants,
if I'm on a campaign to stop world hunger, I'm not putting Kent out there who's fat and chunky. I'm putting a little Cambodian kid with flies on their eyes who are bloated because of starvation.
Right.
You're
putting the right advertisement in front of them. So that's why
I'm going to pull
advertisement. You're putting the right picture in front of people to pull their emotions up, right? And that's what really all of politics is about, is emotion, right? Trying to evoke emotion in people to get them to think.
Is it? Yeah.
A lot of times that's what I think. I mean, like, not to change the subject, but like, you look at the ASPCA commercials for the dogs. I can't watch that shit.
I don't know what that
is. Me neither.
Right? Because you see nothing but unhealthy, unhappy, sickly dogs. So they're pulling at your emotional strings.
That's marketing.
Your heart, right? It is. So marketing. Could this also be a marketing thing? Coincidence or convenience?
Are you willing? Google says 128 bridges on average per year collapse, which is why I fear bridges.
Crap. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no, see, I didn't know. In the U.S.
In the U.S. Holy
all right,
cow!
But major bridges, or are these? This was a pretty major
bridges
bridge
of Madison County.
Yeah, or is it the bridge back here on Kishwaukee Valley Road going over?
Right. Well, you know what? Here's funny. Think about that bridge that we've got over there on Johnsburg Road.
Right.
Johnsburg and Riverside. Have you seen how they've protected that bridge because they don't have the money to fix it? When you're coming up Johnsburg Road heading west, you come up to Riverside Drive, they've got all those yellow cones sticking up there. You know why that's there?
No.
Because that bridge is failing, and they don't want them to stop in the middle of the bridge. So if they can get you to stop at the far end of it where it's safer, quote unquote safer, right? So now they've got room for one car in the turn lane.
Right.
I couldn't figure that out. I didn't know what it was. And I found out, I don't know, 6-8 months ago. And they just moved it about another 20 feet more forward because that bridge is failing.
Listen, here's our do you think that the powers at hand are capable of saying, well, we're going to calculate here, we're willing to take the risk of maybe a few lives injured, lost, to say, oh, hey, right now, this was a healthy bridge in September. So
at least
either someone got paid off, right? Or
I think a lot of it also comes down to, I mean, long time ago, I saw a story about a bridge collapse in another country that they had thought was perfectly strong and everything. And unfortunately, the shoring and the pylons underneath weren't what they thought they were. And it had been recently inspected. And if you think of how many times that you can talk about or within arm's reach of the network of people that you have, you've got good people and bad people, or people that just don't care. They're not necessarily bad people. So if you have 100 inspections to get done this week and you're just pencil whipping every single one of them to get through and get your job done and get your paycheck. So on paper it goes, well, this bridge was inspected last year. It's good. It was strong a year ago. Someone must have done something to make it fall now. When the reality is, if you got somebody on a bad day who doesn't care about their job and went and said, yep, I looked at it, everything looks good. And the reality is it's not. And that's the state of a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like Fletch, G. Gordon Liddy, it's all ball bearings. Yeah.
It's all ball bearings these days. That's a really interesting comment, Mary. It's obviously it's possible. I mean, because a lot of people that are unsatisfied with their job, it's fine. Yeah, I see steel, I see concrete, everything looks good.
Yeah.
you know.
Right. Or if you're supposed to suit up and go under the water to see how the shoring is, like if you're going today, it's negative 20 degrees. I'm going to say I did it because I really don't feel like doing it and everything else looks good. And I've been doing this for 40 years. So I know it's going to be fine. And then the next thing you know, you find out that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Or it comes down to things that as we learn, and you say, okay, this has been the way it's been forever. If you put 2 pieces of steel, this many cars can go over it. And then all of a sudden we discover that in time, as we learn and as our engineering knowledge grows, so does how we build our structures and our bridges and all of those things. So unfortunately, you have those accidents. So sometimes it purely is just a matter of circumstance, and there's no conspiracy or, it just happens.
Or coincidence.
Happens to
But
be.
it is, I mean, really, it is just really super weird or coincidental,
Perhaps.
right? That something like that happens
Or
on
is
the
it?
day that
I know what happened.
individual is there to discuss
It was aliens.
giving me
Aliens.
money. It was Pete. It was Uncle Pete.
What does
right,
Robert
so-
say here?
Bob says there are more than 617,000 bridges across the United States. Currently, 42% of all bridges are at least 50 years old, and 46,154, or 7.5% of the nation's bridges, are considered structurally deficient, meaning they are in quote unquote poor condition.
Yep.
Thank you for that comment. That's some interesting numbers.
Good numbers.
Yeah.
7.5 is not a lot.
7.5 in the big picture is not a lot, but it's too many,
Well,
right?
Some questions toward the quote unquote events that lead to surrender of personal privacy. Some would be called false flags, which are historically very effective in passing legislation. Sometimes it's greed. Yeah. So well, let's take a look at.
Or there's an agenda.
Let's take a look at something else. Over the last 2 years, a major holiday is coming, and numbers from a health issue spike right before every national holiday. So now, be careful. Don't holiday with people who aren't like you, right? Aren't in the same health category as you, perhaps. The issue is convenience or coincidence that before every major holiday these numbers rise.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
Right. It is. I mean, and
Here's what
you
I'm
try
saying.
to think about why would that be happening? I mean, because it's going to affect the purchasing power or the purchasing of people and the money being spent out there in the world, right? Not necessarily stopping people from getting quote unquote getting together, but if they're not going to be getting together, they're not going to be spending as much money, which is going to hurt the economy, which is already in the turlet.
So as I talk about convenience or coincidence, your eyes are seeing something,
right?
And your brain is being told something, and it doesn't always match what you see. So do you start saying, I see it and believe it, or I'm being told it and believe it? Because you have to start, as a big white truck would say, start questioning everything. Right?
Well, and that's true.
So if you are questioning things, are you questioning what I see and what I hear are not the same thing?
No. When you hear something, well, the thing is when you see and or hear something, you do need to question it. You need to dive deeper and go, why is that? Right. And what really did happen, and be able to delineate the information and break that down and to really make an educated decision on what happened in that particular situation. If you don't have the proper information, and if you don't question everything, you're just most people in this world just go along with it and they say yes.
I question that hours before the president's going to talk about bridges being dilapidated, one actually falls down in that city where he's at? Why would I question that?
Most people won't. But why would you? Because you care, and you are a woke type of person, right? You're paying attention to the little
most of my
right?
life.
Well, I have too. You know what I mean? And as we get older, I think we do wake up and go, well, wait a minute. Right. And that's, I mean, because as a kid, if somebody told me something, I usually accepted it. Okay. you know, you can't change that. It is what it is. And then that's been my statement for a long time. Well, it isn't generally not. It is what it is.
For our listeners out there and anybody who happens, go ahead and contact. First of all, go on to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe to that because we're pushing for 1,000.
Pushing for 1,000 subscribers.
But the interesting thing that I would ask is, did what happened on Friday? Did you even know about it? Number one. Number two, when it happened, what were your thoughts? Did you go, well, that's strange? Or did you go, wait a second?
Well, for me, it was definitely, I'm going,
you didn't know about it.
I didn't know until you told me. And then I looked in and I go, that's really strange. And I mean, why? That my question. And that was actually the first thing to me. Why? Right? Why did it fall? Okay. What happened? And then if it was coincidence, right? What is there to gain? Right? Or convenience. I mean, not coincidence, convenience.
So
what would there be to gain if it was coincidence, right? I mean,
midterms, votes, things is good. Now, here's a question that I'll ask the audience, because we have an audience who remember what encyclopedias were, right?
Mm-hmm. Those are those books that tell you meaning.
What you hear is, if it's on the internet, it must be true. Tongue in cheek, right? Saying everything is out on the internet, you can't believe.
Right. I think most of it's bullshit.
Did you ever hear that phrase from your parents or anybody going, if it's in the Encyclopedia Britannica, you better question it?
Absolutely.
But now the funny thing is,
that was like
as we learn stuff, they're changing those books because as we gain knowledge. So we never heard it when we were younger that, if it says it's true in there, blah, blah, blah. So it's still completely different than the internet versus the books that we have. But it's so funny if you look at older school books and older encyclopedias where it says, this is how it was, or this is what we knew about, this castle was built by these people. And then all of a sudden they've discovered and done more research and learned things. And they say, oh, well, maybe we were wrong. And this really wasn't the way it happened. Yeah. So we can't unwrite those books. It's kind of funny. But that's a good point.
That's interesting, right? So Tim says, even if 100% of all bridges in the world were guaranteed to collapse yearly, it's awfully convenient for one to collapse just prior to the president delivering a speech in the same city regarding the topic. Amen.
That's the whole reason this topic's up here, Tim. Yeah, amen. Exactly.
Wouldn't you have done it in Cincinnati? Maybe it's close.
Right. Yeah, you do it in the exact same city.
I'm not saying anybody did it.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Well, yeah. It probably would have been a little bit more acceptable. Right, if it happened in a different city,
more coincidental.
Right. I mean, really think about that. Holy crap, he's there to speak, and a bridge fails, and he's there to speak about giving money, spending a ton of money.
It was a ton. I mean, it was a bridge that went over kind of a ravine and a little park and creek or whatever. Nothing.
You can tell you're from Iowa with that one with the creek.
Yeah, nothing really underneath it. But I don't know how many feet up in the air it was, but
it looked pretty high.
Yeah, it looked pretty good, right?
It looked pretty high.
But yeah, so you're right. Just that's what I say. Is that?
Just the chances. I mean, what's the probability of something like that happening, right? I mean, and that's what really kind of got my mind going. Okay, wow. Mm-hmm. I need to spend a little bit of time thinking about that one, because I mean, realistically, there's how many bridges? Well, Bob just told us how many bridges. There's 617,000 or something bridges in here, and they're all over, right? But in this little neck of the woods where some person just happens to be coming, a major thoroughfare bridge that had just been inspected decides to give way.
Well, and take a look at, and this is, again, a lot of people have said this. Shana, I question at the same level of school shootings. When we are pushing hard against gun laws, gun regulations, gun things like that, we see a spike in
shootings,
wherever,
whether it's at school or whether it's downtown Chicago or New York. Right. Yeah. Well, and that's true. And here's the thing that, like with, this topic, how many people really give a shit, right? Because I mean, or how many people are really paying attention, right? Man. Well, I can't do anything about it. Why should I pay attention?
Think of the Mackinac Bridge. That's a 5-mile bridge.
Or that one what's the name of that bridge that goes out to the Keys?
Oh yeah, that one down there.
Now that's one that I would probably stay off of now.
Right.
I'll pay the air.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you can't even fly to the Keys, can you? You got to
Can't-
drive
you
out
gotta
there.
drive out.
Son of a bitch, I'm renting a boat.
The most effective propaganda contains enough truth to keep you confused.
That is
Yeah.
a great statement, Shayna.
Yeah.
That is true, and to keep you confused. I like that statement. Right?
Yeah.
Confused. Is it confused or befuddled, or is it not being able to get the proper knowledge, or not wanting to, quote unquote, waste your time anymore because you can't do anything about it? Which I think is a lot of the mentality that people are kind of getting in these days. I can't do anything about it. I'm not going to waste my time. Just give them the money. Let's just spend the money.
So yeah, Tim, it's for that
Yeah.
reason I think it might be coincidence too obvious. Well, at the same time, go to Wall-E or whatever that is, right? And people are dumbing down.
Oh, the movie?
Yeah. Hey,
Oh, God,
people are dumbing down.
So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
It might be coincidence if it happened over in San Francisco when he's speaking at Pittsburgh.
Right.
But
Convenience that it happened in the same
but at the same time,
city. I mean,
people ain't
crazy.
even gonna get it.
Yeah.
And then hey, by the way, Mr. President, you can go and get a picture and a little photo op by this tragic thing.
If that was
to
really him,
push for
if that was really
support,
him,
right?
I like the fact, and I'm going to just jump real quickly, the fact that you brought up that movie Wall-E. If you people have not seen it, everybody, I highly encourage you to watch the movie Wall-E. It is an animated movie, but it is so on track for the way that the world is heading.
Have you seen Idiocracy?
What's that?
Have you seen Idiocracy?
No, but have you seen?
Yes,
have you seen Wall-E?
Yes, every
Yeah.
morning I look in the mirror. I see
Yeah.
Idiocracy. Thank you. Yeah, I watch that every day.
But Wall-E, it's a bunch of fat, lazy people sitting on a chair staring at a computer screen that can't live on Earth anymore because we've ruined the world with all of our pollution.
And now Pixar is the great conspiracy.
Well, Pixar, you can definitely send us some money if you want.
Yeah.
We will help you push more and more movies.
So Tim says, was the president possibly supposed to travel that bridge? Failed attempt at something more sinister.
Oh, I like that, Tim. Tim's got my brain power on that one. That's interesting.
I actually have not seen any news regarding the bridge or his speech, so just wondering if this has been considered.
No, I like that one though, Tim. Wow, was he? But that bridge, I don't think was tall enough for anybody on there that if it did fall,
he's
Was
old.
it?
He's
yeah,
brittle.
he is old.
He's
But
brittle.
his car's armored,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
so it's probably got air shocks too. You know,
Yeah,
for a little
hovered.
hovercraft. That is, you know what? That just changed this whole coincidence, convenience, or
Yeah.
or
and,
question mark.
And Shayna brings up something. We have to be very careful believing what we see and hear with the state of technology now. True. Maybe there wasn't a bridge that existed at all. Maybe it was all staged.
CI or CG.
Yeah. I don't know. Interesting.
Oh man, now I need to go back.
CGI,
Now I need to
whatever.
go back on my little handheld computer and really
Oh,
do a little
baby.
bit of more research. I'm not
Oh,
working today,
baby.
people. So if you need me, forget it. I am going to research all
Oh,
day.
baby.
That is actually, you know what?
That's a great point.
That is a Tim. Thank you. That
And
is a
Shayna,
great. Oh, yeah, and Shayna, but thank you. That is a great. I didn't even think about that. If he had been traveling across that bridge and it went boom boom, so it could have been a right wing, left wing type of thing.
Or just an idiot wing.
Well, we're all idiots.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get real here.
Yeah. Yeah. Deep fake is amazing. True that. I mean, look at a lot of
Deep fake's a movie.
we remember the speaker, right? Jen Psaki going, well, hold on, the plane is really loud, and she was supposed to be in the White House, which is a no-fly zone. So obviously they're creating the illusion that she's at the White House, the press secretary, with jets going over top in a no-fly zone. So yeah,
That was a special day.
Is the deep fake in there, going, interesting. That I didn't go down that rabbit hole, but we certainly can.
I didn't either, and I'm glad that Tim and
Yeah.
Shayna brought that up because that is an interesting.
Yeah.
That is a very interesting angle to this whole thing.
Yeah. I think that if it was an attempt of something more sinister, and I pray that nothing like that would happen, right? That there would probably be a little more speak on it. I think the news would run with that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, was that a route from the airport to downtown?
Yeah, I don't know.
Potentially, I don't know either.
Yeah.
I've never been to Pennsylvania.
They say it's going to goof everything up in Pittsburgh for like 2 to 5 years while they rebuild.
So it's going to mess up their economy.
Yeah.
So they're going to need an influx of cash. Where's that cash going to come from?
I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting. So, very, 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 very good stuff. And of course, you're listening to 216 The Net right here. You're caught in it. Like and follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel as we're pushing for 1,000 people. This
1,000 followers.
1,000 subscribers.
We have a lot of followers.
1,000, right? 1,000 subscribers. Of course, this is The Grounds with Giles and Jones. He's Giles. I'm Jones. Brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Cannabis CBD Shop right here in McHenry, 815-385-7399 or www.
A lot of W's.
The worldwide thing.
Yeah.
CannabisCBDShop.com.
Right. Or just stop in and see us at 818 Front Street, right across from Restore or the library. That's where you get to read these books if you don't stare at your phone all day long.
So today, always at the top of the hour, we talk about a coffee. The grounds is that's how you make coffee with coffee grounds.
Coffee grounds, right?
So that's kind of the thing. And today's coffee comes from Door County Coffee and Tea Company. Door County Coffee and Tea Company. Established in 1993. What we're drinking today is a bourbon pecan pie. A bourbon pecan pie, the flavors of brown sugar, sweet cream butter, whole pecans, and bourbon flavoring. No, I have not poured bourbon in here, but let me just get up here and show you what we're playing with.
It smells like bourbon.
Look at that, right? Now, this is very aromatic.
I was going to say this has got a heck of a flavor, heck of a smell to it. Yeah,
sweet smell,
very
right?
Sweet. Yep.
And it's a little more acidic than the ones we've had in the last couple of weeks. But
he's taking, for all you guys not watching, he's taking a sip right now so he can touch his palate and see what's going on here.
So you really get the whole pecan and bourbon flavoring. You get the little sting underneath the tongue, a little bit more acidic. This isn't one that you're going to be drinking gallons of. This is you're having a cup of this and you're ready to go.
Revs your engine.
I like it. It's not an all-day drinker. I like it. I'm going with an 8.5 on this one because it just made the studio smell great. It does as you go to
right. Really good flavors. I mean, I'd probably go about a 6.5 on it.
6.5,
about a 7.
For a
seven combined
pucks.
puck on that one. So
7 pucks for our Door County Coffee and Tea Company bourbon pecan pie. The flavors of brown sugar, sweet cream butter, whole pecans, bourbon flavoring. Of course, you can check them out at Door County Coffee and Tea Company, doorcountycoffee.com.
Yeah, and
up
for
in
all you
Sturgeon Bay.
Yeah, for all you listeners out there, if you do have a coffee product that you're making and that you want to get out there and want to send us some to go ahead and critique over.
Here's what I'd love, Gary. Send us some Singapore coffee.
Oh yeah, Gary, please send us some of your coffee out there.
We'll pay for the shipping.
We'll pay for the shipping, absolutely. But if you want to send something in, we can go ahead and go through it. Get you guys out there a little bit more exposure, if you will, to our what are we, 5.4 million listeners?
Yeah, we're somewhere out there.
We're pushing that.
We're in the
cheers to you, my friend.
There we go.
Good morning.
Delicious.
Good morning.
Shayna says, I'm starting to think Idiocracy might be a warning.
Well, if you really
that's what my husband says.
Yeah, if you look historically, there are a lot of movies that actually have kind of given us that look into what really is coming in the future. And that's why I say watch that movie WALL-E.
Yeah,
it's scary.
It's Wag the Dog all over again.
Oh my God, was that a great freaking movie? And you know what, people? That happens. I don't care if you want to yell at me or not and say I'm crazy. That happens. If you have not seen the movie Wag the Dog, watch it. You watch WALL-E and then watch Wag the Dog in the same night while you're having some coffee and listening to our replays of The Grounds.
That's it. Shayna, anyone concerned about the endless funds available for this particular gifting season?
Every day.
Always follow the money.
Follow the money.
Got to.
Yeah. Right? But most people don't. Most people think it's free. I just went by a yard the other day that said, a guy had a sign in his yard thinking, if you think this money's free, people, you wake up.
Yeah. Gary says, where's the wild turkey? Gary, I'm alcohol free.
Yeah.
So that was one of the
Kent
things
is on the wagon.
Well, no, I
don't mean
didn't, I
the
didn't have a
negatively like
problem.
that. No, not a
Yeah.
problem. But he just, okay, Kent has decided to put liquor
Challenge.
out of his life for
I've
now.
decided to challenge myself to not drink this year.
That's great.
There you go.
That's great.
Right.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, alcohol in itself is a poison anyway. I mean,
we
why
got some Jim Beam up here. Maple. It would actually be pretty good in this coffee.
Fireball.
That's it. It'd be really good in this coffee. So we're talking about convenience or coincidence.
Right.
In your life, what have you found convenient and what have you found coincidental? In your life? Yeah.
Huh. We have time for that? I mean, it just depends on the situation and how you view it. What's that?
The chuck wagon.
The chuck wagon.
And trust me, I'll eat the meat.
Yeah, right. That's a good question,
Right.
and I don't have an answer for you. You know what I mean? Because it just depends on where, when, why, and how.
So, I mean, we can take a look, especially in United States history, at a lot of things, right? Convenience or coincidence that Lee Harvey was murdered right in broad daylight by somebody who had terminal cancer.
Right.
Convenience or coincidence? Right? I love my president so much. Convenience or coincidence? Convenience or coincidence that Johnson happened to be in Texas in the same place at the same time as the president, which doesn't usually, you don't have A and B at the same place, right? Coincidence or convenience?
Both.
Right?
It just depends, and it comes down to how you look at it and, what information you're grabbing, right?
Right.
I mean,
at what time do you start questioning? At what time?
Always.
Well, do we? The answer is
no. No, we don't. And that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the bigger problems that we have in the world is most people don't. They're just so wrapped up in their own lives.
I mean, how shocked were you when you found out that Hollywood Squares was scripted?
It's scripted?
Yes.
I'm shocked.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, I mean, come on. It's a show. It's a TV show.
Well,
so right.
But you thought Paul Lynde sitting in the middle was a brilliant comedian and then would give the right answer.
Right.
It's scripted.
Right.
Or he'd give the wrong answer.
Good TV.
Right.
It's programming.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying. How shocked were you? Like, what?
Well, I just found out. I didn't know it was scripted. I honestly, I don't pay attention to that stuff. I'm telling you, in the beginning of the hour, my head is in the sand when it comes to a lot of things in my life that I don't have control over. Right. I don't pay attention to, I really don't listen to the news in a lot of respects because all of it these days is just so far-fetched and just so right, left, I just want the meat, right? I don't want to hear that this is a Republican view. This is a Democratic view. If something happened, I want to know what happened. And if I can help it, I can fix it, or I can change it, then I pay attention to it. But other than that, I'm just doing what I do for my life, for my family, and what's good, what's best for the greater good, right? So when I'm doing things, I think about first and foremost me, my family, people around me, and then, the rest of the world, to make sure that I'm doing what's right and that what I would like people to do to kind of come together and help each other, because it's what it's all about is in this world. If we can't come together and we can't do things that make us a better world or a better place, we're going to be in the situation we're in now, where, it's all me and nothing else matters. I'm about me. I'm about my family, but I also worry about what things I can change. I try not to worry. Well, example. Well, that's a good one. Because there's so many different things out there, but like, minimum wage type of thing.
Okay.
Right? I can't change it. Right. But I have to follow along with it. Right. I have no choice. I'm an employer. I have to do it. And it's for the greater good of the people that need more money to survive.
You don't have to do it. You could give them $25 an hour.
Well, but I mean, as far as going with giving them the minimum wage so they can survive, well, boosting up the minimum wage really did nothing because our inflation is through the roof. So now they're in the same spot they were before.
Right.
So I actually, in my stores, I have bonus programs so they can make more money, kind of being like salespeople, right? I'm doing something to kind of help them if they want to help themselves, right? If you want to work a little bit smarter, not necessarily harder, this is my program that you can make a little bit more money to better yourself, to better your life, to enjoy enjoy your life how you
Mhm.
see fit.
Shayna says, at some point, I realized that not everyone craves truth and knowledge to the degree I do. If you value peace, it's both convenient to let others decide and possibly coincidental in keeping one sane. Yeah, that's well placed, right?
Mhm.
That's well placed.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and that's the thing. And that's kind of, and Shane, I love that comment because that's kind of where I'm at. There's so many different things out there that you could stick your head in, and it will drive you nuts if there's too many things that you're trying to control or pay attention to at once, and then you kind of lose sight of you and what you're really looking for out of your life, because we only get one chance around this blue orb, right? Choose your battles.
you get a chance every day.
You do get a chance,
That's
right?
more than one.
All right, we only have one life. And so you get a choice every day. And life is about choices. That's one thing I'm raising my kids. Life's about choices. You make a ton of them every day, right? But you have to also choose what you're going to let your mental state or your brain pay attention to and wrap its head around, and things that you can actually make a difference with. There's certain things that no matter what you do or who you are, you can't change or aren't going to make a difference with. And you have to realize that with the serenity prayer, right? Give me the knowledge basically to understand what the difference between what I can change and what I can't change, and what I basically, in my mind, is what I should worry about and what I should focus on, right? I mean, if I can't change something, I'm trying not to think about it. It's not as easy as it sounds, but if there's something out there that like I can't change, I'm not going to be able to make a difference with, it's up to me to go, okay, well, accept that and move on and work on something that I can make a difference on.
BS, because you put sayings on your truck to get people to think, and you can't change the way people think.
No, but I can make them think about the way they think, or go, well, why should I question everything? Sure.
No, you can't.
I can't change that, so I'm not going to think about, I'm going to question that. Well, I question it. I can't do anything about it. I'm going to let it go.
You can't change the way I think.
I can't change it, but I can put a thought in your head to go, what does he mean by that? Or that guy's nuts.
That's not changing anything about me. So why would you do it? Because you just said, I don't want to do anything. I don't pay attention to things I can't change. You can't change me.
Well, I don't pay attention to them. I put it on my truck because I want them to do that. And if they do it, that's great.
So you do then want to affect things that you can't change.
I want to make people think about those things.
So,
Right.
Right. You want to help change the way they think.
I would like to, yes.
So
Because
you do. So
yeah.
that you can't. You
Well,
can't, right?
Right. And that's the reason we have the podcast, right? Is a daily dose of encouragement to get someone to think differently, to think outside the box, or to rethink what they think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And if my sayings on my truck changes one person's perception or makes someone think about something differently, I think I'm a success in that. And it's not me
So
being
then
a
you do
success.
care about things that you can't change. So you go to bed feeling good, thinking somebody read something on my truck and I know they think differently today. I feel good about it.
No, I don't actually go to bed thinking about that. But I put it up there because that's one thing that I'm actually hoping that it may do, but I don't think about it before I go to bed. I mean, when I put it up there or I've got something going on, it's the reason I put it up there is because I'd like to, make someone maybe think a little bit differently than they were before, one day at a time, changing things one person, one thought at a time.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about it too, because then I get people like you challenging me. And so I'll leave here and go, wow, okay, he's right. Maybe I should erase that shit off my truck, right?
Fucker.
No, I like that because,
Right.
But for many years, when you don't get challenged, you don't grow, right? And if you don't grow as a person, you're dying. Just like a company, if you're not growing, you're dying. So if you're challenging me, which is great, and you put me on the spot, I love it. I mean, I'll have some dead air time when you challenge me, but because I have to really think about
You
it.
got a lot of ruminate in there.
Right, I got to ruminate on it, but that's good.
The best teacher is influenced by example, in my opinion, Shayna says. That said, I've learned great lessons from people I wanted to be nothing like. We are always influential. Yeah,
100%.
I got 10 rules of success written on a whiteboard here in the studio. And
On a
one
white
is and one is learn from greatness, right? Now that's subjectable. What you consider great or greatness or somebody of greatness is different from what I consider great or greatness, right?
Right.
I'm grateful for the challenge. True, Scott. Yeah. Yeah.
And I do like what Shayna says. And actually, my son kind of calls me out on some things because we all have issues in the world, right? My son will always tell me, Don't tell me how to do it, Dad. Show me how to do it.
Hmm.
Right. And that's where you learn through influence, right? Hey, if you want the world to become a better place or help people, you want people to help people, you help people.
Yeah. And listen, this show again is just a couple of guys sitting here having some coffee, and chatting, challenging things, throwing some things out there. But by no means are we trying to spread misinformation. Are we trying to create a conspiracy theory? All we're asking is it convenient or coincidence?
Right. We want to know because it could go both ways, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we want everyone to come at us and go, because I'm going to, we're both going to leave here. And as soon as we're out of the show, we're going to go sit in the green room and go, damn, good. I cannot believe that like Tim, Tim said, you know what I mean? And Tim and Shana.
Brilliant.
Right. It's brilliant. Like, was that bridge supposed to be traveled by the president? Okay. I didn't think about that angle. And that's the thing. That's the reasoning that I have these sayings on my truck too. Looking at it from a different angle, man. I mean, that's it. Really look at something from a different way.
Could have been aliens.
Well, I'm not going to go that far. I would actually, if anything, it's aliens. I would say it's Uncle Pete.
Well, yeah.
Is he an alien now?
Well, it could be. I don't know.
Is he an angel or an alien?
Stimulating others to think is not changing how they will think.
Right. And that's kind of, I'm stimulating them to try to think. Or I'm hoping that maybe they will, because I didn't. Like I said, my head kind of buried in the sand in some ways.
Define stimulating for me.
I didn't say it, Bob.
I know, that's why I say define.
Stimulating, going, I didn't think about. Maybe I should think about that more. Or you know what? I'm not going to waste my time. At least it's something that maybe will pop that thought back into their brain for a second instead of going, and just let it pass through.
Or they may just go, look at that redneck.
They could probably do that. I'm sure I get quite a bit of that.
Your good buddy Beth has something.
Beth says, I think in the past news was impartial. Today, everything is slanted. Scott's Trucks says to question everything. It challenges people to do their own research and not to be pushed in one direction or another, or be told that this is something they have to swallow as the truth. Boy, I love you, Beth, because that in a nutshell kind of explains it to a certain point, but it's different for everybody. They're going to take it. Some people are going to look at me and be like, he's just a crazy redneck, right? What is he talking about? But if it does make somebody look at something from a different view or want to dig in deeper, not look at just the mainstream media, go on the internet, read all the different articles, make your own judgment based on what you've read, and not just believing it because one person said it.
Okay.
I feel my comment's a success.
Terrific, Beth. I appreciate what you say. So it challenges people to do their own research. Okay. So let's talk about that. Where do you do research? Where do these people that read your truck go and do research? Let me know. Follow that up. That's my question to you, Beth. Where do they do, quote unquote, their own research? Shana says, I am grateful to have the opportunity to hear personal perspectives. It might not always be that way. Censorship is a oh yeah, and I imagine that I'm going to have to go through, because this part of this has been silenced. A lot of things that we put out on YouTube and things, I have to go back in and go, oh no,
right, to see what they blinked out.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So there's a lot of work and there's a lot of censorship out there. Right. And that's why I continue to say this is only opinion, and we're not trying to create a conspiracy theory. Right. All we're saying is we're just questioning.
Hey, we're just questioning everything. Right. And we want to see what everyone else says. Absolutely. Because just like with what Tim and Shana brought up.
Absolutely.
That's a completely different angle we didn't think about.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so now I'm questioning it again.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So do I need to waste my time on it though? That's the difference. I wonder what stuff I need to waste my time and my mental
if it makes you better or if it makes you challenge the way you think. Is that wasting your time?
For something I can't control or something?
So the words on your truck, it wastes a lot of people's time, according to what these people have said.
Some people it might.
Then why would you want to waste my time as a good human?
Because I don't like you.
Yeah, I'm just asking.
No, I just want people to start thinking for themselves. I think a lot of America just follows along with things. And if you can get one person to start thinking differently and thinking from themselves and really looking at what they value and why they value it, and, coming up with their own answer versus what.
Okay. How do you come up with your own answer?
I listen to my wife.
That's a mic drop.
And that is it for the show today.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. It just depends on the situation and the subject. I mean, my wife and my father,
mm-hmm.
not tooting my own horn or anything, but my family
Mm-hmm.
is, I get a lot of information from them because they are very knowledgeable. They do a lot of research, and they are wanting to help the world and to change the world, right? To make it a better place for us and for our future generations, especially now my grandbabies, right? So I get a lot of information from, I mean, my wife and I get in a lot of heated arguments.
No.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No.
Well, because I challenge her and she challenges me. Sometimes it doesn't turn out the way we want, but
What
it
does she
also,
have on the back of her car? Don't listen to Scott.
yeah, he's not mine.
Yeah, right.
He's not mine, right? Or he's not in his right mind. No, I mean, she doesn't, because she doesn't like to bring attention to herself, but she is a big proponent. She does things from the back end, right? So from where people can't see it happening. I'm more of a out front type of person, right? She's a backstage person. I'm the person standing on the stage talking about it, doing the speech or what have you. She's the one that will help prep me, so to speak, or not necessarily me, but prep what's going on. She'll lay down the groundwork. We'll discuss the groundwork together, and then decide on who's going to execute it and how we're going to execute it.
Yeah.
So,
all right. I mean, I'm just curious, right?
Right.
And I'm just curious with those listening, when you go to do your research, air quotes,
Right.
your research,
right.
Where do you do that?
Depending on the topic, people, I will question, like you and I talking, I'll talk to people and, hey, what did you find? What information did you get? And what were your thoughts on that? And I'll go, I either, I agree with that, or I don't agree with that, or take a little bit of both. I don't watch TV news. Every time I listen to it, I just get so pissed off. And it's like, because you can tell that it's slighted from one end or another, for one side or another. Right. And so for me, that's just, I feel it's misinformation. Right. So when I really have something that's really digging in my craw and I really want to pay attention or find out what's going on, I will talk to people. I will do some internet research. But I will look at a bunch of different avenues for it. I will kind of look at historically what's happened in that arena. If it's, let's just say it's politics or whatever. I mean, I have quite a few friends that are pretty brilliant, that are pretty involved, just like you, or
I'm
with
just
Pete.
pretty.
Right. Yeah, you're just pretty. Or, Uncle Pete, God rest his soul, or Bill Hasse, it just depends on the subject and the topic, right? Where I'm going to go and what type of information I'm going to need. If I want financial information, I go to Bill. Right. Or I guess for financial, I can go to you too for loans and stuff like that. If I'm going for something that has to do with, a vehicle, I'm going to go to a mechanic, right? I'm doing my research here. They tell me this. Well, I don't think you're right. So it just depends on the subject, where I'm going to get it from. So I get it from a bunch of different places.
So you're resting on the research of others. Your research,
yes and no.
Your research is to use the research of others.
My research is to use different avenues. I don't just take it from one. I'll use people. I use places. I can use books. I can use parts of the internet. Okay. They've got actually a great show out there called Vice News. It's not.
I've never heard of it.
I feel it's a very impartial news company. It's on TV. It's a newer station.
Yeah, I'd have to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's called Vice News. I mean, granted, I'm sure there's a little bit of sliding here and there, but it's one of these things that I don't like shit candy coated, and I don't like shit all just constantly finger pointing. I just want, these are the facts, hey, a bridge fell down today. This is what happened at this time, and this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Make your own judgment.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want them to tell me, because I think a lot of mainstream news actually kind of tells you what to think. And most people are like, okay, click. I'm going to watch Matlock.
Yep. So Shannon says, I get the impression with many of these differences have more to do with brain types. How do you communicate with someone who sees a 6 when it is clearly a 9? Yep. There's a lot of that out in the world today. Absolutely. Beth says, if you are unable to look at things with your own eyes, then listen to people that bring the receipts of proof. Okay. And
that's where she's kind of coming along the same lines as me. I might not see it, right? So I'll ask you, hey, Kent, what about this? What do you think? And then I'll go, either you're crazy or you're right, or a little bit of both. Hey, okay, I see where he's coming from, but because everyone's brain does function a little bit differently, right? And because of your upbringing and where you live and what you do, you're going to look at things differently
Mhm.
just because of your situation, your environment, right?
Mhm.
So nature versus nurture.
Shana says, good point, Kent. We are all getting information that way the minute we step outside of our personal experience. Here's you want to put something on your truck, check your algorithm. That's what you should put on your truck.
Check your algorithm.
Yeah. Everything that you do now today is all algorithm driven.
Right.
That's why I was wanting to see where Beth did her research, where people go and do research, quote unquote, air quotes.
Right.
People don't do research. They Google. We've had several people, a couple different people,
Ding, ding, ding,
Google
ding, ding.
right here.
Right.
Today's show.
Right.
And Google is wonderful because it takes an algorithm of the things that you've searched for. It's going to give you what you want, what you are looking for.
It's going to give you the answer that you.
That is not research. That is, hey, you're going to like this because this is the way you think already.
Yep. Right.
So people don't do research, right? Back in the day,
people Google.
Back in the day, we had to go into the card catalog. And we had to go get a book, and you got a book on this side, and you got a book on this side, and you got a book in the middle. And then you were like, wait, let me see how this works. People actually did research. Now, to support my opinion, I go, hey, no, President Obama said it absolutely the best. He was on David Letterman's show, the first season of David Letterman's My Next Guest Is show.
Oh, yeah.
And he said it brilliantly. He said, in no way, shape, or form can we have a good conversation with anyone now because I get my facts the way that my algorithm gives me my facts. You get your facts the way your algorithm gives you your facts.
Right.
And you say that I'm wrong and I say that you're wrong. So nowhere in America, if there's opposing sides, can we ever have a good conversation? Because no matter how hard I try, I'm never going to get what you like and what you're finding as facts, as opposed to what I like.
We should. I want to challenge that. So if I Google on my phone, let's just say, I don't know, what would be a good thing that could be an impartial Google? What's the best food in town? I mean, you know what I mean?
Right.
So what is something that, so I want to challenge that. If I Google coincident, I mean,
listen,
so what thing do you put on there?
It'll be tough because my phone sits here and listens all day. I've got a lot of shows that I produce and things that I put on, and my phone will light up and start going like this, and Google will say, I don't understand what you're saying. Right? It listens all the time.
It's sad.
Now, I can honestly say that our search probably wouldn't be too different. Right?
I disagree.
There's a lot of things that we agree.
You watch TikTok. I don't.
I do love TikTok.
I don't.
Fact, right?
But so think about that one real quickly. You made that comment because now that's something that I'm sure my wife and my kids and I will talk about. Because if I Google, what would I Google? But what I guess my question is, what would I Google, right? Yeah. That would come up different. The results would come up different for me than they would for you. Because if I ask them the definition of something, it's going to come up the same.
Yeah. But, to Shane is a good, social media, right? Yeah, but Shana if people see the dress as blue versus gold, how do we expect to communicate effectively if we can't even call the color? Oh, I do. I see it blue.
Right. But you see what I'm saying? Yeah. If there's something, because I get it. The algorithms are there. I totally understand that. But I think a lot of that is for like your interest, like shopping interests or your buying habits and stuff like that. But as far as my news, right? My trying to get my research, quote unquote, right, off of there, how would it differentiate from mine versus yours?
Well, because if you're a conservative thinker and I'm a conservative thinker, the first one up is always going to be Fox.
So, well, give me an example of something, saying. Right? So give me an example if you can think of what would be something like that yours would come up differently than mine. Abortion. I mean, if I look up abortion, is it going to say different?
So you're going to say, is abortion right or wrong?
I don't know. Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to come up with a thought or a topic or a subject
How's Google defining a woman today?
There you go. All right, I'm going to put it in right now, guys. We're coming close to the end of the hour. So what is it? How is Google defining a woman today? This is funny, guys. Dead air time. See, I've got first thing that comes up is Data Explorer, womenwill.com. The Divide, Women Will Data Explorer. Insights from studies like this help us find opportunities to shape Google's Woman Will programs. What'd you get? First one.
Is teenvogue.com.
You know what? I guess we should type in the exact same thing.
What I put in, define a woman today.
Okay, so let me just type that in. Define a woman.
And hey, here,
we're brought to you by
is critical race theory good or bad? And hey, come back at 9 because we will be talking about that and Whoopi Goldberg.
So mine said, well, what I got coming up right now is just being a woman means having a strong sense of identity, accepting your body as one.
By
right?
Teen Vogue, right?
Teenvogue.com.
Yeah.
That one right there.
Right. So that's the same. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Right. So
right. What's the next thing?
Right. So what's the next? So
Yeah.
I mean, how would it be different? My next one is beat.com. 6 inspiring women on what it means to be a woman today. Is that what you got?
Yes, because
so again, our algorithms.
Again, our thought pattern and the things that we probably Google are very similar.
I just Google porn. That's it.
Like I said,
our thoughts are the same.
Right. You know, and so the interesting thing is that's why I think a lot of our thought and the things that we Google are more than likely very, very similar.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why we get along. Right.
You're smart and I'm good looking.
Yeah.
Or I'm good looking and you're smart.
One of those. Right. So I think, you know, that's why I say, however, if you get somebody who's not a more conservative person, may end up being a little different. Right. Because that's their algorithm. Right. You know, I like looking at classic cars. You like looking at classic cars.
I love classic cars.
I
love classic cars.
I love, you know, checking out, you know, like landscaping for backyards and campgrounds and things like that. You do the same thing. So a lot of our likes are similar. So a lot of what we would Google would be the same. But what happens is Google has an algorithm for you. Don't say they don't, because
I know they do.
You know, so now we'll start
ads and everything are targeted towards.
Now we'll start getting advertisement for women.
Yeah. Now my wife's going to think I'm really searching porn.
Thanks, Shana.
Yeah, thanks, Shana. Well, unfortunately, that's the end of the hour today.
Yeah,
we can keep going if you guys want to hang out, but we certainly are
coincidence or
convenience. But we are super blessed and super happy and grateful that you tuned in with us today at 216 The Net and getting caught with us. You guys, it's Friday. If you do a 5-day work week, go enjoy your 2 days off. If you're like Kent and I, we're just going to keep pushing. But remember, how I always say, go out, love somebody, hug somebody, let them know they're important, let them know they mean something to you. And even though Kent keeps questioning me, question everything, people. Don't just accept something because that's what people expect you to do.
That's it. Like us, follow us, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Come back at 9 for Bridging Civil Tension. Whoopi Goldberg, Brian Flores.
We love y'all, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in and share this with friends, family.
You know the rock just spans so buckle down, the right in, because it's way under.